Meteorites. Alien invaders that race through our atmosphere and crash to Earth without warning. Steve Arnold and Geoff Notkin live to exhume these scientific wonders from deep space.
Numero uno!
Got one! Yay!
They are
Fantastic.
the Meteorite Men. On this expedition,
We're back!
Steve and Geoff lend their expertise to an important research project. The goal, to document and preserve evidence from an ancient meteorite strike that punched a giant hole in the Canadian landscape.
Yeah, baby!
Earth is going on here.
Parts of asteroids that broke up 4 billion years ago, traveling at an astounding 17,000 miles per hour. They careen to Earth and remain buried until now.
It's a bit chilly for those of us what live in the desert, but not as chilly as last time we were here.
Steve Arnold and Geoff Notkin are investigating a recently discovered meteorite crater near the town of Whitecourt in Alberta, Canada.
They've got shovels. Oh, when I was talking to Brad on the phone, and he said, what kind of digging thing do you have? And I said, oh, I used to use my pick with the magnet. And he goes, well, that's not going to be much good up here, eh? And apparently, the average targets are 8 to 12 inches down, and there's a soil layer, and then it goes quickly into the clay. And he said it's fairly hard digging, so they've got long-handled steel shovels for us. I didn't really want to bring them on the plane. It's just a wasted effort.
Yeah. All right.
And
you know how to get there, right?
sort of.
This could be fun.
Are you ready?
Hey!
Are you ready? Are you ready to go back to Whitecourt? Are you ready? Are you ready yet?
Yes.
Are you excited?
I hated leaving Whitecourt.
I hated
the first
leaving
time.
Whitecourt last time. Whitecourt is one of my favorite sites in the world. In fact, it's probably my favorite site on the entire planet.
How cool is this?
The guys first explored the location in 2010
Oh. Ah! Holy cow!
when they unearthed 5 iron space rocks,
Oh my God.
worth about $10,000.
Way to go! But it was so cold. And we only had, really only a few hours.
There is no site that we've been to that I want to go back to more than this one.
But this time, the Meteorite Men are not hunting just for profit.
We have an opportunity to make a really valuable contribution to science.
Not only do we have nice weather, not only are we going to have an actual hunting window for a reasonable length of time, but this time we have specific permission to hunt inside the protected zone. What do you think of that?
Whoa, inside.
Yes.
Wow.
By special arrangement with our good friend Dr. Chris Hurd, who awaits us upstairs with amazing new meteorite discoveries, which you must see.
Okay.
At the University of Alberta in Edmonton, Dr. Chris Hurd has requested the guys' help recovering evidence from the Whitecourt impact crater.
Geoff and Steve have an incredible depth of knowledge of the best methods for looking for meteorites, the best tools to do it. And so for them to come and apply their expertise to this particular area is a real treat.
Dr. Chris.
Dr. Chris Hurd's team has been investigating the crater since it was first discovered in 2007.
He's the expert when it comes to everything meteoritic and specifically on the Whitecourt crater.
On Earth, visible craters are extremely rare. One reason is that our atmosphere acts as a shield, causing the vast majority of space rocks to burn up before they hit Earth. And the meteorites that do survive the cosmic voyage often don't generate enough energy to produce a crater. It's only the rarest of the rare that survive the journey with enough momentum to puncture a hole in the landscape. And even those are temporary. Earth's harsh and ever-changing environment erodes the visible record of most crater features. So the Whitecourt crater is a unique and scientifically important site, protected by law. Anyone found hunting inside the crater faces a $50,000 fine. But outside,
It's open season. And because meteorites are thrilling and remarkable and it's exciting to find them and they're worth a lot of money, many people have been up here hunting.
This is a major blow to Hurd's research. Rogue hunters are robbing him and the scientific community of critical data. Each fragment, no matter how small, is a key to understanding what happened when this meteorite smashed to Earth.
In the process of the explosion to make the crater, the original body, which is something around 3 feet across, ripped itself apart into shrapnel and spread that over this large area. And there are hardly any examples of that worldwide. So we're trying to figure out how that process happened, both to make the crater and to produce this shrapnel field.
An emerging theory in the field of crater research is that the largest of these impact events may have sparked the conditions needed for the evolution of life. About 4 billion years ago, a volley of meteorites scarred the surface of our planet, producing craters like those visible on our moon.
Some of these meteorites may have had already made organic molecules that were splashing down into warm pools of liquid water, and that's what seeded life as we know it today.
It's an intriguing theory. At the very least, meteorites brought more organic material to the Earth, even if perhaps they didn't bring the very first ones.
Right, yeah.
You've got something special in store for us.
Well, the deal is I got you access, start working and go hunting. And we get the meteorites here so we can study them.
Such a unique opportunity to hunt at a site that is almost entirely undisturbed, that we feel very special. It's almost like walking on the moon. We're going to do something that almost nobody else has been able to do before us.
There's an incredible amount of work to do, enough to keep many people busy for many lifetimes. And the thing about it is that these are fundamentally rocks from space. They will tell you stuff about places that you can't really go. There's so much excitement in the future as more meteorites get found, more stuff to work on, new scientific questions to try to answer. It's a growth industry.
Steve and Geoff make the 2-hour drive from the university to Whitecourt, but the crater itself remains obscured by lush forest. The only way to get there is off-road.
That's a bit of a squeeze.
See ya.
Whitecourt the Magnificent, with nice weather and everything.
Wow, no kidding.
The guys first visited the crater in the dead of a Whitecourt winter. But that meant they could easily see the depression that had been stamped into the Canadian landscape.
Wow.
118 feet in diameter and 30 feet deep. A change in the weather, and you can't see the crater for the trees. The guys meet back up with Chris Hurd, who's been collecting samples with his field team.
I knew it was going to be overgrown, but I didn't expect it would look this different in the summer. It's actually really scenic. It's just going to be a bit harder for hunting.
Have you guys learned more the trajectory on where things, and did it spew out in a certain direction more than others?
Yeah, we think it came in from the southwest. And then the vast majority of the shrapnel is to the east.
Well, we've seen the sites. I think we should find the rocks.
Okay, and he's saying they're that way, so let's go find them.
Okay.
The sides of the walls go up pretty sharp. You're in like a little amphitheater. It's quite striking.
Every time we embark upon a new expedition, there's the brain power part. How are we going to play it? What equipment are we going to use?
For this expedition, the guys are utilizing the latest and greatest space rock capturing metal detectors.
So Geoff has introduced me to this new metal detector. It's supposed to be better, supposed to go deeper, supposed to help us find more meteorites.
But it's not easy to get a delicate and sensitive detector through all of this undergrowth.
Despite the thick brush, Steve zeroes in on his target.
Yeah, 29.5 grams. Wow. Cool character on that one.
The greatest value of finds inside the crater's protected zone is in data, not dollars. And so far, the guys are finding lots of samples around the crater rim.
Chris asked us to follow some very specific steps when we find meteorites.
Okay.
Of course, he wants the GPS location of each one. He also wants to know the depth at which it was found,
5 inches.
the soil type, and any other interesting details that we can record will help further the research project. That was in clay, and it was nose down.
Bag them and tag them so that when it gets back in the laboratory, they can take this data and put it together and find some really good information on how this thing came in, how it exploded, how these pieces were distributed all around this crater.
It's a lot of steps to go through, but this is why we're out here. It's tiny, but every meteorite is part of the picture, part of the story.
There is.
Who's that from? Is that Dr. Chris? Are you grading papers down there?
Come on down, guys.
You need to install like an escalator here.
How you doing?
Good, we made it.
Yeah.
How are
Glad
you,
you
sir?
could. Good.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Nothing like having a meet and greet in a meteorite crater.
Exactly. Come to the center of it all.
So tell me, what exactly is it about working in a lab that's so appealing?
He's smart.
I don't know. This is where it's at.
Yeah, this is where it's at.
Hey, we brought you something.
Oh, wow.
Since you've been so gracious in educating us about meteorite science, we thought with your permission we might educate you a little bit about using detectors.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it's real lightweight, very sensitive. I think you'll like it. And we figured that if we're gonna have the pleasure of your company out here, we expect you to dig up some stuff as well. We're not gonna do all the work.
Yeah. Leave some fun stuff.
It was either that or bring a shovel.
Yeah.
You know, one of the two. So it's like, ah.
Anyone can dig
Got lots
a
of
hole.
those.
So what are the rules for today?
Well, now you guys are here with your fancy metal detectors. We can start filling in some of the information between the crater itself and the edge of the protected area.
Before we start, specifics of how you would like each piece logged, bagged, any details, depth, that sort of thing you'd
Sure.
like us to record?
Yeah, I mean, for larger pieces, it'd be nice to actually excavate down sort of next to it and get a couple of photos of it in place before we actually pull it out. 'Cause you get a context of where it is with respect to the surface. So we want to do that before we pull those out. And then, yeah, basically just bag them and tag them after that.
Okay. Now we're putting the pieces of the puzzle together. How many pieces were found? How big was the original meteor that came in? How much survived? All this, how it was distributed, maybe what angle it came in and how it broke up.
I'm going to walk around the crater, and I'm going to keep walking around until I find an area that's rich in meteorites, and then I'm going to dig every one of them.
It's virgin territory, enough to make any meteorite hunter's heart race.
This is going to be like shooting fish in the barrel.
The Meteorite Men start their search just to the northeast of the impact site, within the protected zone.
Our first day was quite a surprise and not a happy one.
Where Steve and Geoff are having trouble cutting through Whitecourt's thick vegetation.
Wow, this is tough. Oh, wow. Are we having fun yet?
Perhaps this isn't going to be a slam dunk after all.
Where are all the meteorites?
The protected zone is a protected zone. There isn't supposed to have been any hunting that's gone on in there. So we were expecting that it would just be full of meteorites and we'd put our detectors down and get a signal right away, but somehow that didn't happen.
The soil has terrestrial minerals that contain trace particles of different metals. Steve doesn't want these to set off his detector, so he's fine-tuned the detector to zero in on iron only.
Getting a few little sounds that, according to the reading on here, they're not iron, so I'm just going over them.
Steve's optimism is waning. He's starting to question his own strategy.
On one hand, I'm drawn towards the clearings where it's easy. On the other hand, if somebody's been in here poaching, that's probably where they would have been too. So kind of leaning towards the little bit tougher areas to get to. Gotta keep pressing forward. Right now, we're 61 meters from the center of the crater. There should be stuff around here. This is insane. I thought we were gonna be finding them every 5 minutes. Where are they?
I don't know if we were in the wrong area or if our equipment wasn't properly calibrated or we were just having bad luck.
Well, I'm not even getting any good signals.
But any doubts about finding space treasure is soon dismissed when they meet Dr. Hurd's field team.
Oh, it's the Canadian champion meteorite hunting team. Hi, comrades. Good to see you. How are you? They've set a new standard for meteorite research with their work up here at Whitecourt.
I've found 550 meteorites out here.
Just under 800.
Over 600 meteorites.
They're coming out to Whitecourt weekend after weekend and putting in hundreds, thousands of hours of their own time to collect these specimens.
That's pretty much how it came out of the ground.
And
Oh, that's unbelievably fantastic.
I love the symmetry of it, and it's got...
Yeah. Well, maybe
Really
this was
nice.
on the outside of it.
Yeah.
Wonder if the edge rock would fly farther than the core part of the body. That'd be a good question to ask a meteoriticist or something.
If we could just find one.
That's the best thing I've seen all year. That is really amazing.
It's the best thing you've seen?
Yeah.
Well, maybe can you set your detector down and I'll show you maybe something even better?
Okay.
Well, for 2 minutes, it was the best thing I've seen all year.
Well, there's no doubt about it. That's a nice piece, and Jen really treasures that. But if you just step and look in the box here.
You didn't bring one that's so big it has to live in the box.
Well, I think you guys should pick them up and have a look at them, okay? You ready?
Some of their finds were meteor monsters.
Oh, come on!
Wow.
This meteorite weighs in at 18 kilos, just under 40 pounds.
I bow down and I worship you.
On the collector's market, at $10 a gram, that's a $180,000 space rock.
Oh my God, these are gorgeous rocks.
And this is my baby. That one's just about 20 kilos.
Wow. Look at that. Amazing rocks.
The price tag on this space rock, $200,000.
So, how deep do you think we found that? How far do you think that would drive in the ground?
It might have only dropped 6 or 8 inches deep.
2 inches.
2 inches?
That must have given you a heck of a signal when you went over it with the detector.
Overloaded the detector.
Yeah, no kidding.
And it overloaded Jen's detector when she found this one, because this one was only 6 inches down.
Wow. We got to see kind of a little show and tell out here. Got our appetite whetted. Now we got to go make it happen.
Geoff picks up his search on the northeast end of the crater.
That's one.
15 yards away, Steve is on the lookout.
Whoa.
The Meteorite Men each have a target in their crosshairs.
I bet you $50 that's a meteorite. This is weird. What on earth is going on here?
Well, where'd it go? No, wire. What's a piece of wire doing out here? Not fun.
Our expectation of finding many fabulous meteorites in a very short period of time was not fulfilled.
Steve comes up with the idea that maybe no one ever thought to hunt by the warning sign along the crater's boundary.
A meteor wrong. I wonder if it... Oh, this is too funny. Someone been tearing down signs and leaving nails around?
Today, the guys were not as lucky as they thought they'd be. They have nothing worth showing Dr. Hurd. By sundown, it's quitting time. Just after dawn the next morning, Steve picks up right where he left off, on the northeast end of the crater.
Oh, yeah. This is too funny. This is too funny. Every person that's walked off of that road to look into this, whether they went in the crater or not, walked over this meteorite right here.
Oh, I'm liking this one. What have we got here? The deeper I dig, the more interesting it becomes. Is that... Holy cow. Oh, yeah. That's more like it.
Every find Geoff and Steve make is a significant contribution to the research project. Dr. Chris Hurd has set out to accurately measure the impact crater, and he hopes to do it before poachers trespass and steal any more protected meteorites.
And this illustrates exactly why I'm here. This is a dig hole from someone who was here poaching meteorites. I know it's a poacher because the hole hasn't been filled in. Anyone who's ever been here working with the university have been required to fill in their holes. Whatever meteorite was here, and it was probably a fairly nice piece because it's quite a large hole, that data's lost forever because someone's stolen that piece. And it'll continue to happen. Despite the sign up there that says $50,000 fine, our mission is to find as many pieces as we can to aid in Chris's research before they're stolen out of the reserve.
Each find is a vital piece in Hurd's puzzle, not only mapping the crater, but posing one of the biggest questions of all. Where did we come from? Could it be possible that the building blocks for life hitched a ride to Earth on a meteorite? For life to begin, the conditions must be just right.
You remember the story about Goldilocks and the three bears? She tasted the porridge that was too hot, and the porridge that was too cold, and then the porridge that was just right. Well, the Earth is in what's called the Goldilocks zone, just right. Here we have a Bunsen burner representing our sun and liquid nitrogen at minus 320 degrees Fahrenheit. That represents the coldness of outer space. If the Earth formed and got too close to the sun where it was too hot, it pops, bye-bye Earth. And if it is too far away in the cold of outer space, it shrivels up and it's dead. But if we put it back here in the Goldilocks zone, it's not too hot, not too cold, it's just right. And because the Earth is in the Goldilocks zone where you can have these pools of liquid water at the surface and then the right conditions for life to take hold.
And meteorite impacts would not only have heated the water, they would have created unique underwater ecosystems that may have helped give rise to early life. Steve's digging a target. For Dr. Hurd, each find is a new link to Whitecourt's past.
Ooh. There it is.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The depth helps scientists estimate the meteoroid's speed just before impact.
Let's pull it out.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. And you can see where it's been ripped off.
Yeah. Yeah, classic Whitecourt right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
67.35.
Good find.
Yeah, all right.
Dr. Hurd will also put soil particles under a microscope to identify the chemical elements that made up the original meteoroid. With that evidence, he might be able to learn from where in our solar system the meteorite originated.
We find this buried soil, and we found charcoal in it, and that's how we got the age on it.
Okay.
The key to knowing exactly when a space rock punched a hole in the Canadian forest is another destructive event: a fire. Fragments of the meteorite have been found above a layer of soil, holding evidence of fire. Carbon dating this material puts the crater at a relatively young 1,100 years old.
But we don't know whether the charcoal is actually from the impact event or from a forest fire that just happened before. Yeah, you started to get into it now. This black stuff, that's charcoal that was there before, possibly started by the impact, but we're not really sure that it had enough energy to do that.
Oh, good. Oh, is that iron? Most of the irons are black. You can't see them when they come out. Where is it? That's why the magnet's invaluable. Oh. Oh, it's two tiny ones and one medium together. It was a pretty strong signal, and I was expecting a bigger target. That was deep, that little piece. Easily 12 inches.
Jen Newman, a member of Dr. Hurd's research team, joins the hunt. There's a lot more ground to uncover in the protected zone, and 3 detectors are better than 1.
Vegetation is pretty thick, mind you.
Boy, it's hard to get a good swing. Hey! Oh!
Oh!
Oh, yeah!
Jeez!
There you go.
Wow!
That's awesome.
I'm not a total loser.
That sounds good. It's right in here. Oh. I just hit something hard. There it is. Oh, yeah. I gotta show Steve this one. Woo. I'm literally on the rim of the crater. I mean, it's right there. That's a gorgeous one. Love it.
The location of each Whitecourt space rock indicates how the impact explosion distributed the shrapnel.
It flung out of the crater and landed here 1,100 years ago and was then buried under soil.
Geoff hasn't drifted far from his last find. He's still on the crater's rim.
That sounds good. We're right on the rim of the crater, and I do not want to do any damage here. This is a protected site. I don't want to be gouging huge holes in the side of the crater, so I'm being particularly careful to make a small hole. We normally wouldn't expect to find a whole lot of specimens on the rim. Typically, the explosion will throw them out away, fling them away from the crater, but some larger pieces were probably thrown straight up into the air and just fell back down. Deeper is good. As we go deeper, the chances that it's a large target increase. So this is one instance when extra work actually makes me happy. Nice, clean, strong signal. Getting closer. Oh. I just hit something hard. I can't budge it. If I can't move it, that's a good sign. Oh, holy cow. That is a meteorite. Wow. A large piece like this, we wouldn't expect it to have been thrown into the rim. It may have been thrown way up into the air and just fallen back here. Magnet test. Look at that monster. That's got to be 3/4 kilo.
The specimen is a good sample for Hurd's research. Its size and location on the rim is a measure of the violent thrust of the meteorite's impact. And at about 800 grams, Geoff's rock would get $8,000 if it were available on the collector's market.
Just over 11 inches down. Let's bag this. I just need to do the GPS. That's a happy task, logging a find of that size.
The guys meet up on the south rim to check out their finds.
Ooh. That's my best one so far.
Geoff and Steve have made several significant finds for Herd's research inside the protected zone. But now they want to take the hunt outside the zone. Any finds here will be of benefit to the project because whatever they recover may expand the known boundaries of the impact site.
I want to go outside the zone.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Steve and Geoff are joined by members of the research team. Researcher Brad Newman leads them beyond the protected zone to an unmapped area.
Nobody knows this area like you two, so please lead on.
Out here, where we're gonna search is way far away from the crater, outside the protected zone.
Geoff steps off into the thick forest, while Steve and Brad sift through an overgrown meadow.
Wow.
Ooh, you gonna dig that one, are you? Yeah, this is pretty tough terrain. Nope, not in there. Ooh,
It's in here somewhere.
there it is.
Oh my goodness.
Piece of wire.
A meteor wrong. I've been getting spoiled. Let's get more.
This sounds better.
Wow.
Oh. Oh, it's out. Well, that's no good.
Wire. It's bad enough when it's a little piece, then they start bundling themselves up.
Yeah.
Really being tricky. We must be getting close.
Yep.
They're throwing these decoys out at us.
Woo! I got a target over here that sounds really good.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
More wire.
This is...
More wire.
We come to this hill and all we're finding is wire.
On a positive note...
Nobody's been here hunting before. They would have
That's
already
right.
picked it up.
Might be just below that log.
Hey, can you bring your detector over?
That's probably not a good thing.
There it is. I see it right there. Right there, sticking in.
Oh, there, right there, yeah.
Yeah. So check it out. We had a target. It was under the tree. We moved the tree. The target disappeared. There's a screw screwed into the tree.
Well, this looks like an old post. That's not just a normal tree trunk,
I
is
don't
it?
think so.
Well, this was homesteaded back in the early 1900s. Sure, they had cattle, so they put up fence lines and...
Okay.
Well, that would explain all the wire. There might have been a fence around here.
Maybe so.
Their metal detectors don't differentiate between signals of pioneer junk and valuable space iron.
Right there.
This is going to be a meteorite. It's going to be one. It's going to be one. This is going to be a meteorite. You're going to see, Steve.
Hey, that's sounding kind of... Try right there.
A meteorite, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Wow.
That's the real deal.
The guys spread out to look for more of the real thing.
Hey, Geoff, I got one.
Well, I hope you brought a shovel. Oh!
Oh, wow. Yeah, baby.
I hear a lot of noise over there.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
You
That is
betcha.
a chunk.
I better go investigate.
How far are we from the crater?
547 meters from the center.
From the center.
Woo, hey.
You may have set the record.
What's going on over here, lads? Oh, super. Wow, that's a good size.
98 grams.
Look at this one. Expanded the strewn field. That's always fun.
Exactly.
A strewn field is a section of ground where 2 or more meteorites of the same type have been recovered. Steve's latest find is noteworthy. It pushes the known parameters of the Whitecourt site. The guys regroup and head back to the protected zone.
Oh, yeah. Boy, I was hidden. Couldn't even see it. It's not even really orange, but pretty juicy piece. 41 grams. Nice.
On the western rim, Geoff has his ears on a target.
Oh, that sounds good.
It's right in here.
Oh, that's more like it. Oh, yeah, this is superb. This is why I'm out here. A classic piece of shrapnel. It's really angular. Look at how the surface here is twisted and bent at that sharp point. That is a piece of shrapnel. That's been blown out of the crater following the impact. That's why we do it. Beautiful.
Shrapnel is key evidence for Dr. Hurd because it helps verify the path a fragment took at the time of impact.
This is one of the most precise and detailed mapping projects related to meteoritics that's ever been undertaken. Perhaps the most detailed. And it's thrilling and also an honor to be part of it.
Hurd can then map the site with a higher degree of accuracy.
There's so much growth here. There are a lot of fallen trees. Most pieces found here are between 4 inches and 15 inches deep.
There's a big stain of rust.
Rust, the telltale sign of an iron meteorite.
This rust. Oh my goodness! Whoa! Look at that. Woo! This is what it's all about right here. Wow, it's hiding way underneath that root. Hey, Geoff! I found a real nice one. 191 grams.
That's a disgrace. I have to go find a better one than that.
Some serious bling. Serious bling. Best one ever for me.
Steve may be adding data to a critical project, but he's had less success keeping his gear organized, despite Geoff's best efforts.
This is a meteorite hunting kit that I designed, and it's got this fantastic digital field scale, magnet, baggies, pen, a loop. It's really everything that you need. And I was so pleased with it that I made one for Steve, and I gave it to him as a present. And then today he said, well, could I borrow some baggies? And I said, you must be kidding. I just gave you this lovely kit that's got all these baggies in it. And he said, oh, yeah, I lost the kit.
Where'd I leave my shovel? I'm gonna go get another shovel. Great. Where's my magnet? I'm gonna go find my magnet. I left home without my magnet again. Where's the magnet? I seem to have misplaced my magnet. Oh no, where'd my magnet go? Again? The magnet's not attached. I'm gonna run off and find a magnet. Wow, this is overloading me. Oh, well, look at this. Did I lose my walkie? That's not good.
Don't blame that on me.
Ah.
I should have known. As it gets towards the end of the day, you've got this thing, and you go, I just want to find one more good one. Just one more good one, and then I'll quit. And it's getting late, and you see the sun going down. Crazy. What on earth is going on here? I'm having a heck of a time pinpointing this. Let's give that a try, thanks. Why don't you help me with pinpointing if you don't mind, since you're a master at that. He's out.
That's it?
No, it can't be that tiny. They're little tiny fragments. There we go.
There.
Woohoo!
All right. Nice one.
After the guys bag and tag the last of their targets, they pack up the hunt.
The last stop on this expedition is back at the university. Look at our bounty, see what we brought in. Prepare to be amazed.
After all the effort Steve and Geoff put into collecting specimens for Dr. Chris Hurd's research project, they're eager to learn what the inside of a Whitecourt meteorite might reveal.
We had a cut, and we've taken several slices off of it, including this one here. So this is the slice that came off of it.
Hurd shows the guys another sample after it's been polished.
So this surface is mirror smooth.
The meteorite's hidden structure is enhanced through etching.
I've mixed up 10% nitric acid, the rest ethanol, and we'll just brush it on the surface here.
The process reveals the crystalline design that only forms in outer space, called the Widmanstätten pattern.
The Widmanstätten pattern forms as the result of separating high nickel and low nickel metal from each other.
I imagine that you have already seen some etched specimens. What is the bandwidth of Whitecourt?
The bandwidth's about 1 millimeter on average, so it's right in the medium octahedrite range. And what the acid does is that it attacks the high nickel and low nickel metal differently to allow you to bring out that pattern. So it starts off as a very smooth, polished, mirror-like surface and ends up much more dull, but with the pattern revealed.
This is one of my favorite parts of meteorite science, watching the etch pattern appear much like a photograph in a bath of developer.
As the etch is working on the surface here, it makes each band slightly reflective from a different angle. So sometimes you can come in with different colored lights at different angles on it, and they kind of mesh together and look really, really cool, because the lines will pop out in contrast with each other. But it's mostly just different scales of gray.
As you can see, guys, here, we're starting to see each line, each lamella, as we call it, each little width of camosite, the low nickel alloy, start to appear. And the significance of that is that it's representing very slow cooling and separation of the high nickel from the low nickel over a long period of time.
The crystal patterns in iron meteorites range from very coarse to extremely fine. The thickness of the crystals in the pattern depends on the amount of nickel they contain and how slowly the metal cooled. With this information, scientists can estimate the size of the meteorite's parent body, because larger asteroids cool more slowly than small ones.
So that really gives us insight into what was going on in the asteroid that this thing came from, way back at the beginning of the solar system. You start to see it come out.
Oh, wow.
It's nice. What do you think, guys?
Fantastic.
So this tells the story of what the asteroid went through as it formed in the early part when it cooled.
That's right.
Dr. Hurd estimates that in space, the asteroid from which the Whitecourt meteorite came cooled at around 50 degrees Celsius per million years, which means that asteroid was at least 30 miles across.
So there we go.
Oh, that's really gorgeous.
Having seen what can be revealed through analysis, it's time for the guys to present their samples.
Wow, this is quite the haul, you guys. What you guys have done is filled in a huge portion of that protected area, and we have all shrapnel. In the couple days that we were in the field, we covered a lot of ground, and we were able to really flesh out some of the blank spots on our map.
I love this one, and it was nose down, perfectly flat, like this.
Yeah, yeah. Having an idea of just what carried further away and what didn't will help us in sort of piecing it all back together again, figuring out what happened. Even something about how the explosion took place. We get an idea of the original mass that came in through the atmosphere, and something about the timing of it, something about the age of the impact crater itself.
The continuing study of meteorite craters across the globe helps researchers investigate the theory that life's raw ingredients may have originated in space.
We have evidence from some meteorites that have been studied that there are pre-made organic molecules. It's not life itself, but it's the right stuff for life to start in these meteorites. And if those were falling to the Earth 4 billion years ago into the warm pools at the surface, they would have seeded the Earth with the things that we need for life.
Knowing that these molecules formed in space suggests that some of the makings of DNA were drifting down to early Earth as life began to evolve. The theory also has implications for extraterrestrial life, because meteorites may have delivered these building blocks not only to Earth, but to other planets. Steve and Geoff weren't the only hunters on the Whitecourt team who found space treasure.
It's the veterans of the Whitecourt expedition.
Brad Newman and his daughter Jen have also been gathering samples, but they've been working the crater for weeks.
Looks like you got some nice ones there.
Steve and Geoff are presented with a first-hand look at not only their contribution, but all the space rocks recovered on this mission.
If you give me a little hand here, we can unwrap.
Be delighted.
It's an impressive haul.
Sitting there on the table in front of me, there's over 400 meteorites.
Good Lord. This is fantastic.
You guys have done such a fantastic job. It's just amazing to have all of this material to work on. It'd be years worth of work right here on this table.
Excellent. We'll take good care of them. They've traveled a long way so that you could study them.
Walking in, seeing all the meteorites that we found as a team was really encouraging, made me really proud